Bye-bye.
Jervaloof.
Jervaloof?
Jervaloof.
Jarvaloof. Jarvaloof.
Jervaloof.
All right,
Sorry.
open. Oh, did you crash stop that for me? Yes, sir. All right, cool. Open.
Open. Yeah, what do we do for that?
I'll say launch. You'll say.
What about Miss Lisa?
Oh yeah. I'll say launch. You'll say launch, and
And a mini store.
does Lisa still have the mic?
I'm still here. She's got the mic, but camera crashed.
Camera crash.
Oh yeah, it did.
Aw.
Oh, did it all shut off? Bloop, 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 bloop. Flicker, flicker. There it is. There we go. No memory card. Lisa, you have no memory card. Ha ha! That's funny. That's really funny, actually. You're going to tell that story. Are you okay to tell that story on air? All right, cool. So, you're okay in being... Oh, hey.
Oh, that'll work.
Look at that. That's
Nice.
pretty, look at you, Dutta. That was awesome. All right, I'll do launch. You'll say...
You have to put your earpiece in.
Why do I have to put my earpiece in?
Because we open the show with
continuity.
an earpiece in.
Yep. Launch, and then you'll say...
Launch,
And then...
and lettuce.
Launch, and lettuce. I like that. All right, you guys ready? Let's do this thing. This is number 1. Coming up, launch.
Launch.
And lettuce.
Stay tuned. I forgot to introduce Dave.
Unless you want launch, and lunch.
Launch, and lunch. No, but lunch might sound too much like launch.
I know that was.
Especially with my accent.
I know that was the point.
But if it's too
That was the.
I know, but if it's too close and you can't discern that she actually said lunch, then it just sounds like launch, and then you don't actually get the joke.
I get the joke.
Okay, yeah.
Joke.
Launch, lettuce. I like that. We're gonna
Fine.
stick with that.
And yeah, if you could introduce Dave,
That'd be great.
that'd be great.
Thanks.
Thanks.
2.
I need you to come in on Sunday.
Coming up, launch.
Launch.
And lunch.
And plus, we've got special guest Dave Masten in studio. Start the show!
Did I ever tell you about this book where it's like a cat who thinks that he's an alien, and so he's talking about Mars or going into space, but the cat's name is Spice, and I only hear it because it's like it's something in spice instead of something in space, so it has like this Australian accent to it.
Tomorrow begins right now. There's a 50-50 shot. I'm going to actually use that as the open, just so you guys know. Did we like that one? Was that fun, or was it too campy?
It was really long. The whole show's already long.
Not that. The one before that. The official number 2. Or should we do it one more time?
One more time.
One more time. All right. Number 3.
Lunch, lettuce.
Lettuce.
All right. Here we
Oh,
go.
I'm saying lettuce this time.
Lettuce,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Coming up, launch.
Launch.
And lettuce.
Actually, we need to slow this down a little bit.
Okay.
So you wait a half beat in between me, and then Lisa wait a half beat, because we need a second to transition from each one.
Right.
Because it's only one word. All right.
Okay.
This is number 4. Coming up, launch.
Launch.
And lettuce.
And we've got Dave Masten, boom, in studio to talk about what Masten Space Systems is up to. Stay tuned. Tomorrow begins right now. I'm leaning for no reason whatsoever. Now the show begins. Now. Anytime, Donna, hit the button. I'm just kidding. All right.
You know how hard it is to just stay still like that? Good gods, my contacts dried out.
Oh, man. Now I can take the earbud back out. Yeah, partway through Dave's talking. He's in my ear. It's all great. It's got, off we go. And I hear my earpiece go.
That's awesome, because you only have one good ear.
Yeah. And so...
And the earbud is in
so
that ear.
Dave's talking, and I'm trying to very nonchalantly be like, out of my ear! No more of this! And then I'm like, is that my earpiece? Or is that the microphone? So then that happened right as I was asking
Are
a
you
question.
serious?
Yeah, that happened because I don't know.
Right.
So that happened right as I was like asking a question or like right before it. So when you're watching the show on demand and there's this one question where I just like stumble completely and totally over myself trying to figure out what the question itself is.
That was funny.
That's what
That's
happened.
what happened? Because you were
Yep.
like, so just, with the, so,
Yep.
and, yeah, what? It
Yeah.
was like, what is wrong with you? All right.
I
So,
thought he was doing a Josh Stewart.
just explain this to me for a second.
Dave, did you like that interview? Was that all right? Did we cover enough stuff?
Dave's
That's
like, no,
fine.
do it again.
There's never enough time, so, you know. Just get me talking about space. I can talk
You gotta leave him wanting more. Do you want to talk more? You want to do After Dark?
Sure.
Should we
All
bougie?
right, well, goodbye.
Get off my set,
Oh,
woman.
wait.
What?
We're gonna wonderful woman out of this? I don't think so.
Nice attempt at a save.
It's all right. Ben doesn't feel the same way about me as Dave does.
He doesn't know you as well as I do? You could see me deciding whether I was going to say that out loud on camera. That should work, yeah. Something like that. That's perfect, yeah. That works. Can I have my Dave back? Oh, wait. Before we bring Dave on.
What?
You want to show the D23 stuff? Swag? All right. Yeah, they don't.
It's only people who were here before the show.
No, we didn't show them the Epcot ticket. Bring the Epcot ticket out if you don't mind.
Okay, so you don't want to see the Alpha Centauri explorations or
The
excursion
yeah,
stuff?
sure. We've got the big.
The big.
And we've got the Epcot ticket, which is pretty cool.
All right, hold on.
And the mini Stoge. We have a mini Stoge camera. We don't have to. We've got mini Stoge right here. All right, cool. And bring me a Dave too.
Yeah, I can only carry so much at a time.
I would love for you. I think the internet wants to see you carry Dave out to the set. I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
Just because I can do it and you can't.
Cool. All right, so while we set Dave up with a microphone and get him out here, I'm going to show you what we've got. So these are my wares from the D23 Expo, which is why we were off the air last week. I don't normally do things like this, but it was kind of cool. Did you say yes, I do?
Yeah, you do.
Not like this though. Not this type of thing. I mean, I randomly just buy stuff, but I don't buy stuff like this. So this is before Epcot ever opened, which is my favorite Disney park. Before it ever opened, they had a preview. You could buy preview tickets, commemorative preview tickets. Why do I still not have a Dave?
Because it's not my fault.
Is it Dave's fault?
You're supposed to bring me out, right? You're supposed to.
Yeah. Why? Yeah, like on her back maybe, or can you hold him and cross the threshold? Oh my God! I want to see this happen. She actually did that all the way from over there, and she's curtsying, and Dave is redder than she is.
Dave's really good at turning red. Like,
Also, Dutta, I don't. Oh, I see what Dutta's doing. I'm sorry. So, all right. So there we go. So this is the Epcot ticket itself. This is a commemorative ticket. Most of the this side over here that's white. That's somewhat hard to see. This side over here is the actual entry ticket into the park, and then this is the collector. Like you collect this park and you keep it with you to give you. This is what you show to get access for the other couple days that you're going back into the park. So there you go. Isn't that awesome? And then it comes with, yeah, perfect timing. It comes, hang on, let me, hang on, I'll hold it back up, and then you can hit the focus button again, sorry. Like that.
Doesn't want to.
You may have to manually rotate the lens. Yeah, probably can't. There you go. Cool. So, all right. So that's the ticket. They had plenty of them that were like this. You could buy this part, just this section, very easily. There was one that actually was unused. Interestingly enough, I can go to Epcot today and use this ticket. I can get into the park. I won't, but I can get into the park. And then it comes with this envelope. It's actually shiny silver. It's really reflective. You can see that it has the Epcot thingy over here. And what's fun is that it was designed so that you go, you use the ticket, and then the part that you keep fits into the envelope, but it doesn't fit the whole thing, right? You have to use it, drop it into the envelope, and you've got this cool thing. So pick that up at D23, which is kind of cool and neat. Again, I like it because it's Epcot. Oh, and you could only buy these before the park opened. And what I learned, which I thought was interesting, is that the monorail was open before the park, and you could actually tour the park. Like you could go over the park on the monorail before it ever opened and actually see its construction status. I thought that was pretty neat. That was pretty cool.
I have very vague memories of doing just that.
That's really cool. I had no idea.
Monorail and construction. I remember some construction and being on a monorail, but I was like 6 years old, so I don't remember it all that well.
I'm a little jealous. So, all right.
And now you know exactly how old I am, too.
Then Carrie Ann got, this is pretty cool. This is the Alpha Centauri Expeditions. This is the Ace Bieg right there. So this was a bit of a hunt to get. You had to go to, at D23, you had to go to the Pandora exhibit. They would then give you a flyer, and then from there, you could bring it back to Mickey of Glendale's, go to the register, and you had the privilege then of buying this. You didn't get this for free. And it came with this, and then it came with a water bottle, and then it has like luggage tags. It actually has a kind of a neat pin, the Alpha Centauri Expeditions pin. So limited edition. And then she took it the next day, went back to the Pandora expedition, exhibit, and had the lead Imagineer, Joe Rohde, right? Joe Rohde, had the lead Imagineer in charge of the project sign the Bieg. So this is signed by the guy who is in charge of the Pandora World, or Pandora World of Avatar, I think is the official title of that park that's going, or that extension of Animal Kingdom. So that's very cool. I thought that was really neat. Again, that's something that we don't normally get excited over, but kind of fun. So there you go. That's our D23 wares. You just curtsy again, like a little on camera, like thank you, thank you, thank you. So what's cool going on in Dave's world, other than rockets? Or it doesn't have to be other than rockets. You can do.
Well,
rockets too.
so other than rockets, I mentioned during the show that I managed to get engaged.
Yeah, congratulations.
And we're offering condolences to Tiffany. So.
No, I think we all knew that was happening. It was just a matter of time. Although, I'm gonna have to give you crap here. Didn't you say something along the lines of you would get engaged when you were like on the moon, or something about the moon was?
She may have been getting impatient.
I think that. So I think you did this backwards. Actually, instead of getting engaged sooner, you should have brought us to the moon sooner. You should have done.
You're right. I probably should have. I'm sorry.
I didn't hear what you said, Tiff.
I thought the ring was going to come from.
The ring was going to come from the moon.
Instead of a diamond, it was supposed to be a piece of basalt or something from the moon. Yes.
But you can always upgrade the ring. I mean, you can.
We can upgrade the ring.
Yeah. That's like a future ring thing, so she doesn't have to wait, and she can still have her ring. I'm making promises for you. You're welcome. You're welcome, Dave.
We'll figure something out, I'm sure. But yeah.
Oh, let's see if there are any questions in the chat room that I missed, because.
Yeah.
Are you still working with DARPA on its proposed launch system? Yeah, you answered that.
Yep.
Your company has proposed a lunar lander. What is its status? I feel like we answered that too.
Yeah, working on it.
Think you'll be a moon lander for SLS? I don't understand the question from Space Cadet. In other words, do you think your moon lander will go on the SLS? You could go on.
So, we've talked, and, we've had some engineers asking about it. There's nothing official right now, no real thing. And we've talked with NASA about the possibility of developing Zeus to go with SLS, to be part of the SLS actually to use the Zeus technology with an SLS upper stage. But there's like different directions that NASA's still working on, and I don't know that it's actually gone anywhere. And quite frankly, I don't know that SLS will ever fly.
Actually, it has a flight date of.
Yeah, I mean, it has a flight date and everything, and they keep moving it out. And there's, the problem is it's a big government program, and there are a lot of Congress people who have interests that diverge from each other by a lot, and so who knows what the politics is going to come out of that.
While that is true, I feel like we're so far along in the process at this point, and that's a highly technical way of going about this, is going, I feel this way. But we're so far along in the process, I would be surprised if we don't fly it once. We may not fly it more than once, but I'd be surprised if she doesn't light her engines and commit to fly it at least once.
We'll see.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
We
don't
have that
know.
dollar bet.
I'm not going
We
to.
still have that dollar bet going back a ways, don't we? Right? I think
exactly.
She has to light her engines and try to commit to flight. Now, whether she flies or not, although actually I don't think she won't. I think the engineering side of it is pretty solid. I'm not worried about that.
I think if the politics and the funding comes out, eventually if she lights her engine and actually releases the hold down clamps, then I think she'll fly.
No qualifier of releasing the hold down clamps. She's supposed to commit
that is your normal commit to flight is releasing the hold down clamp, right?
She's supposed to. I don't think we said commit. I think intended for flight, right? So
yes.
the hold down. She's light the engines with the intent of flying, as opposed to a static
Yeah,
flight.
okay.
Right. So if she scrubs 9 million times in a row because there's a problem, and then they cancel it, I still win because they actually built the thing and intended it to fly. All right, not that they'll get that. That won't happen either. Once it's on the pad.
I think once the engines
it's on the
go,
pad, it's going up.
Yeah.
Maybe not the first time, but.
Yeah.
Someone said they have enough engines for 4 flights. Yeah, but that doesn't mean they'll build 4 of them, right? They had an entire Saturn V that they like.
There's, I believe it was actually 2 Saturn V's that are still sitting on the ground.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah, just because you have them doesn't mean that they're going to do anything with them.
There's enough to make 3 Saturn V's.
3 Saturn V. Why? Enough for 3? Why didn't we just fly them?
Well, because they needed money for Vietnam.
Grumble. Oh, we have a beer bet that it never flies. Is that what the? That's my bet.
Oh
Is it
yeah,
beer bet?
maybe it was $1. Maybe it was a
beer bet.
Yeah,
it might be a beer bet. I don't drink beer. Do you drink beer?
I do drink beer.
Oh, all right. Well, then you'll have to when I do win, you'll have to introduce me to a nice beer of your choice.
Okay.
PBR is not a beer, by the way. That does not count.
No, you're right. That is absolutely true. No. So that was the other thing. Mammoth Bluesapalooza a few weeks ago was awesome. It had a ton of West Coast beer joints. Micro brews came by and man, that was way too much beer.
My wife and my father-in-law would love that. Yep.
So,
not my scene.
If you're into the micro brews, that was really good. That was good.
A couple questions. Twicked asks, you mentioned vibrations when close to land. Have you found solutions to damper them?
So I'm not going to go into details, but yes, we've figured out how to deal with it.
You move the land away from the.
We know how to deal. We know how to deal with it.
Mini Elon asks, will you ever use a methane LOX combo for your engines?
Well, we've already been testing methane and LOX.
That seems to be the current trend in rocketry is a methane LOX thing. It feels like it kind of came out of nowhere, and suddenly SpaceX is like, oh, we're doing methane LOX. Blue Origin is like, oh, we're doing methane LOX. You're testing methane LOX.
A little over a decade ago, there were some papers along with the whole Moon, Mars, and Beyond thing that said, hey, methane is something that's fairly common in the universe. We should be using this. Hydrogen is also very common in the universe. In fact, it's a hell of a lot more common, but there's some handling issues. Methane doesn't have those handling issues.
I think you understated the handling issues right there for a moment.
Well, let's just say that there's a reason why the Delta IV core is not the common core that Vulcan will be built around. Hydrogen can be difficult to handle. That said, so anyway, the papers all said that there's methane. It's plentiful. It's easy to do. Even in worlds where there isn't actually methane or a lot of methane, you can still make methane. So, for example, Mars, you can plenty of carbon dioxide. You can easily make methane out of that carbon dioxide. So there was actually quite a effort by NASA for a little while on methane engines. And then some of the rest of us were like, well, not too sure about it, but then we found other reasons why we wanted to use methane.
I feel like there's an interesting trend shift. It seems like a couple decades ago, or more than a couple decades ago at this point, it was all about building the most optimized engine and getting the most power and oomph as you could, the technical term, out of an engine when we're designing and building like the space shuttle main engine or any other engines around that kind of general period. And that's why we have the liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen, because you just, liquid hydrogen's very good. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, that was the reason for the shuttle being, and then Delta IV being hydrogen and oxygen. It was like ISP, yes, and that's specific impulse is everything. Performance is everything.
But now we're moving to maybe not. Maybe it's okay. Well, not performance. Maybe what we need to do is make it something that we can handle and deal with.
Well, we're dealing with operability issues. And
working with liquid hydrogen is not easy. It really does not want to be contained.
It does not want to be contained. Designing tanks for hydrogen is very difficult, especially if you're trying to be reusable, because a hydrogen molecule will get everywhere, including into the very little cracks between the crystals of your metal tank. I mean, microscopic cracks, really tiny, because you have grains. I mean, metals are grains next to each other, and it will just get its way in through there, and it embrittles the tank. And so then the tank cracks and falls apart, and that's not a good thing for a pressure vessel.
I got a couple more questions. Methane locks. Space Cadet 88. Dave, did you ever get any requests from Blue Origin for their landings of the Shepard's flight vehicle? I'm pretty sure Blue Origin doesn't own a phone, so...
I don't know Blue Origin's ever talked to anybody about anything.
I think that's a great way to describe it. They don't talk to anyone about anything. And then they're like, oh, by the way, we built this entire rocket. And we flew it last week. Here's the footage. Let's see here. Blue Origin. Mini Elon asks, will you use carbon composite-based liquid oxygen RP1 methane? Well, liquid oxygen RP1 methane.
I'm trying to figure this out.
Why are we adding the RP1?
Okay, so carbon composite is in the tanks, the pressure vessel to hold the vehicle stuff. Not for anything cryogenic. And we are doing LOX and methane. That seems to be our preferred direction at this time.
Who is it that thinks they figured out the cryogenics and the carbon composites? Do you guys remember? Electron Rocket? Yeah, the New Zealand company, Rocket Labs, yeah. So that might be someone to talk to. They seem to think that they figured it out.
The thing is carbon composites have been figured out for cryogens if you're throwing it away after your launch.
They are, in fact, throwing it away after the launch.
Yeah, I absolutely no problem with the state of the technology is great if you're doing a throwaway or very low cycle rate. If you only need 10 or 20 cycles, you can do carbon composites. If you're insisting that you need to be able to do several thousand cycles, yeah, all the people doing carbon composite tanks just run away from me. They don't. I've literally had them walk away from me when they see me in a conference.
I kind of want to get that on camera.
I wish I had a GoPro on my shoulder or something. Literally, they just turned around and walked away.
Mr. Macabar asks, how do you cool your big engines?
Regeneratively cooled. So, that's standard practice in every rocket engine. You put the fuel in down the wall. You have little tiny tubes make up the walls of the nozzle in the chamber. The fuel goes up or down or whatever direction, and we actually have multiple different directions that goes in our engines, and then it comes out through the injector after it's heated up, and that's basically how you keep your wall cool. And there's also some other tricks you have to do, and read all about them in Sutton or Husel and Wang. Those are the ultimate space reference guides. You can look them up.
Twickett asks, and this is actually a pretty good question. After low Earth orbit and the moon, will you be attempting a straight to Mars mission, like a Mars Direct kind of thing, or will you be going to one of the Martian moons instead? And I'm going to extend on his question. Are you going to even do straight to Mars, or are you going to use the moon as your launching pad?
So the straight to, so after we do our initial landings on the moon, and we have basically we need to be building infrastructure every step of the way. It's not so much straight to Mars. There's going to be many flights to Mars. I don't care about the Mars moon so much. So
you just want to practice on the moon, make sure that we understand what the heck we're doing? Is that the...
So basically I want to use the moon as sort of multiple things. One, that yes, we can live in a place where I can't walk outside and just, breathe the air.
Sure.
So really the moon is actually in many ways much worse than Mars is. But
why? Regolith?
So the regolith getting
gravity.
Anywhere, everywhere, the less gravity, the fact there's absolutely no atmosphere at all.
But wait, is that actually, what does that matter? You've got, 11 seconds or something like that? I forget what the...
who knows?
The pressure difference. So isn't that going to... Well, I suppose not. You have more pressure on Mars.
You have at least a little bit of pressure. You also have wind.
Yeah, but isn't it not really wind? Like it moves at 200 miles an hour, but it's so...
It's 200. It's like 200 knots or something like that is a typical wind speed. But your dynamic pressure is the same as if you're standing outside next to the ocean on a normal breezy day.
Yeah. Okay. So, but why does that help you?
So you'll definitely feel it, but
not in your spacesuit. You won't.
No. Yes, you will feel it. You will still feel a force pushing you.
All right.
In a direction.
No, that's worse because now your solar panels on Mars could get covered in dust.
And they're also going to get swept off periodically.
All right.
We have three excellent reference candidates down on the surface right now. They can also get swept off as well as getting coated. But also, because things are blowing in the wind, so to speak, you can actually do some things or not deal with some things. Regolith handling is a lot easier if there's a wind to move it around a little bit. To break the sharp corners down.
Well, there may have been water flow on Mars already, which may have done that for us already.
So all of that helps.
I'm saying that. I'm not sure if that's true. I'm making that assumption.
But the other thing is, to heck with all that, there's a carbon dioxide atmosphere on Mars. I can use that.
Sure, for your fuel.
For creating methane or what have you, yes. That becomes a useful thing that I won't have on the moon. However, what I do have on the moon is we're now, I think the science is now down to 99% positive that there is water on the moon in quantities that make it suitable for mining and using.
So breaking that down, it's 100% there's water on the moon. It's that last 0.001% of how much water is on the moon, right? That's kind of the question.
So I think that is where the question is now. Yeah. It's always everything in science until you've actually done it. You don't make.
It seems like absolutely 99%. It seems like it's really a question: is there a lot of water on the moon, or is there a butt ton of water on the moon? That seems kind of where we're at right now.
So, the real question, we don't know yet, is can I land something on the moon and start shoveling ice into a processing facility and separate out my hydrogen and my oxygen out of it? If I can, I'm golden. I've got. So I now have my propellant to get me to Mars a heck of a lot cheaper.
So would that be your plan? You launch from Earth. You basically go from Earth straight to Mars, but you use your lunar launched fuel depot to fuel you back up?
So I'm thinking fuel depot in Earth Moon Lagrange 2.
Okay.
You really want a space station in Earth Moon Lagrange 2. That's just out on the Earth, Moon, EML2. EML2, if you launch towards Earth, you can actually fall towards Earth. I don't remember now the exact direction, but you use Earth then as your gravity boost, you now need about 1/3 of your energy that you would have needed to get to Mars. And because since you need so much less, you can also use a lot less and move a lot faster. We can cut the time to get to Mars down by, I don't remember offhand now, but you can knock several months off that trip.
So, using L2, you're still fueling that from the moon, though, right?
Yeah.
Because
We're moving the propellant from the moon
point?
to L2. That's a low cost transportation route.
Right.
That is very low cost. You can grab the stuff off the North Pole, launch it directly to EML2.
Well, you're moving your oxidizer to the moon, but your propellant, how are you going to deal with that? There's no propellant. How are you going to...
Oxidizer is more than half of your propellant.
All right. So,
if
but you're still not getting your liquid methane or your methane up there.
We can still carry fuel. We'll still have to carry, or we can use hydrogen. You use hydrogen and oxygen, but then there's the handling difficulties. So there's a lot of trade-offs we're still working on, and but
Sure. But then, I mean, even if you get that working, when you want to come back, well, I suppose you can do the same thing on Mars, right? So you could still create.
On Mars,
But then you also have the option of.
So then we also do, what I'm looking at is I'm thinking about this is, this is a multi-year program. Our first launch towards Mars goes without people, and we actually do 2 or 3 launches. And these launches are actually from this EML2 facility, and we send a ton of infrastructure. And by ton, I mean, a ton of tons or something. A big buttload of infrastructure to Mars, set it down, and start producing all the stuff that we're going to need so that we carry fewer supplies to Mars.
So you're pre-populating Mars with the stuff like your fuel stuff and the stuff for power, I assume, like energy generation.
Yes, so we're doing energy generate. So, we need the energy generation just to get the stuff out.
Sure.
So yeah, we're sending a power plant and purification and gasification and liquefaction plants and all of that in nice little bundles so that we can pull the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, turn that into methane, or hope maybe land someplace where there's water ice. We know there's water ice on Mars. Drill the water ice, use hydrogen and oxygen. Again, there's tons of trade-offs there, but have all of our propellant ready to go. And we'll know that the propellant is there, ready to go, and everything's functional before the humans leave EML2.
So you're ready to, you've got everything you need. You've got an emergency return. Would you even have a vehicle basically ready to go, landed on the surface, or your emergency return vehicle?
So yeah, we're looking at having redundancy and possibly even redundancy for the redundancy as well. And then if everything is still in good shape, you have all this redundancy. Maybe you have it in different places. You can actually explore multiple different places
that'd be cool.
and not be totally bored as we're sitting there for, I think, the mission plan, the way I've figured it out right now, I think we end up sitting on Mars for like 9 months or a year, 9 months to a year before we can make our trip back. And that's
you could choose to stay longer if you wanted, right? I mean, you could.
Well, there's that whole issue of the moon and Mars have to be at certain places in their orbit so that when you depart the one, you will arrive at the same point.
Certainly,
as
but you could wait for that to cycle back around again if you wanted to.
That's like 2.2 years every time.
Sure.
So if I don't,
as long as you have enough supplies.
As long as I have enough supply, but I don't want to do that long. I don't want to be out that long.
Maybe not you. I mean, I'm saying
or whoever. But yeah, I mean,
if we're going to colonize Mars, we're going to have to be there for longer than a year. I mean,
well, I'm just talking about being the explorer and doing the surveying. I don't care about that for that.
We gotta get to that colonization point too. We don't care about that. All right, moving on.
Okay, I do care about that, but
what is the? Let's see here. Johnny Spacer, is methane your preferred Earth to space propellant?
Earth to space. Right now, I personally like methane for a lot of reasons, but I mean, I hate to say it's one preferred thing because there's actually, there's so many different things. We're actually currently working with hydrogen peroxide and some kind of fuel, and I'm not even sure exactly what the chemical is. We're working with methane. We're working with alcohol. Despite all of my experience with hydrogen peroxide, I basically got our propulsion department looking at hydrogen peroxide and gave them some basic information, and they've just run with it. So I have not. No, this is this is gray from.
Walked into a cloud of hydrogen peroxide, kind of.
No. This is all gray from starting and running a company.
I thought for a second you were going to say running away from vehicles, but all right, that's fair. That's fair. All right. Okay.
Have I read The Martian? I have not read The Martian. I have that ready to go for my. Tiff and I are going on vacation again in a couple of weeks, and I've got that as a audio.
That'd be cool. What's your current flight duration record on your vehicles?
Flight duration record, a little over 3 minutes.
Are you 3D printing any of the engines with all those cooling tubes yet?
Yes, we are. Our RCS engines, we're doing a ton of work on RCS engines. That's really where, and we're doing 3D printing, and there's more 3D printing stuff I can talk about, but 3D printing is a major activity at Masten.
RCS being your reaction control system.
I'm sorry, that's right. No
No
reaction
acronyms.
control system. The small little rocket engines. We've been printing and testing those entirely. So yeah.
I assume that's direct metal laser sintering you're doing for the 3D printing?
Yeah, so most of it is direct metal laser sintering.
Which is same concept. It's just powdered whatever metal you want. It shoots it with a laser and it builds it up.
Yep, exactly.
Cool things. Where were we? 3D printing. Patrick? Can I please become your test pilot? I have a nagging suspicion you have plenty of people in your organization who would want to. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know why anybody would want to be our test pilot. By the way, I am firmly in the camp of as soon as Google gets their freaking car, I want to buy one. I see no reason that
I
we
feel
should
like you should be more advanced than Google's autonomous car right now with your autonomous rocket, right? They're just using LiDAR. You're using LiDAR, right? I mean,
So in many ways we are more advanced. In other ways they are more advanced. I mean, think about it. They're dealing with the actions of humans.
yep.
We don't. Our dealing with actions of humans is, no, you cannot go past this gate. And therefore you must stay 1,500 foot or more away from the vehicle. Now part of that's federal regulations, but most of that is, no, I don't want you near the vehicle while it's flying. Google's car is out there in traffic with humans and dealing with humans being stupid, which I'm sorry, that comes with being human. So in a way, there's actually far more advanced because they have to figure out in real time, what are these stupid humans doing? And going back to my original point, though, I think self-driving cars are the thing of the future. There is a very strong philosophical, moral, and ethical argument that we should not be driving cars on freeways anymore.
I absolutely agree with that. Although I would, yes,
And
I
more
would
importantly
take
than
that
that-
to another extreme, but yeah.
Yeah. So you probably thinking they should be on certain types of rails, like with,
Single
track.
rails that don't have more than one rail. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a personal rapid transit system of
Why
sorts as well.
planets or moons for settlement? Build O'Neill colonies. Yes, EML2. Next. Oh, wait a minute. Cheaper to send humans on a one-way trip to the moon or send them back after a few years? I don't understand the question. Never mind.
Is it cheaper to send humans on a one-way trip? Yeah, I don't get it either. All right. Yeah, will you start providing? Yeah, here's a good question. To Wicked, will you start providing launch services for satellites or gaggles of CubeSats when you're able to reach low Earth orbit?
Yes, absolutely. That's the whole purpose. We get to low Earth orbit, we're going to be launching everything we can.
All right, 3 more questions. Would you be supportive of a ISS version 2 at a Lagrange point as a common launching off
Yes.
point? Would you be supportive of ISS V1 moving to a Lagrange point if they had some sort of thruster capable of doing that?
Good question. I don't know.
Okay. To the best of my knowledge, we do not have a thruster capable of doing that today, right? There's nothing. even on
Any
the
thruster will work as long as you can refuel it enough times.
Okay, but it has to be able to fire for a while. Then otherwise, it's just.
They have, if they cut down, say, 50% of the activities on ISS, they have plenty of solar panels. They could install an ion propulsion, and it'll take forever, but they can get to a Lagrange point.
All right.
It'll just take forever.
Yeah, but then
and
we
ever,
right
and ever and ever.
But once it gets to the Lagrange point, we don't currently have the technology to actually then send humans to and from that. Not today, at least.
So yeah, there's going to be a whole new set of technology in ISS. So yeah, forget it. ISS can just stay in low Earth orbit.
So
until we
ISS
can't
2,
use
all
it.
right.
Yeah.
Would you do ISS 2 or you do like a Bigelow thing? You do Bigelow thing?
I'd probably go more towards Bigelow thing. I don't see why we need to. Yeah.
Will you build it? Speaking of Bigelow, will you build any space hotels in the future?
Mass and Space Systems really about the transportation aspect of it and the transportation infrastructure, not so much the hotels. Somebody else can do the hotels.
And final question from Tawicked. How big of an issue is radiation when using launch platforms that aren't protected by Earth's atmosphere?
Or protected by the Van Allen belts and magnetosphere. Huge issue. That's one of the major things when we were doing the catalyst proposal. We asked for NASA, like, we need help with what you do for radiation protection and how you calculate and do the engineering around all the radiation stuff, because it's just a major issue. And so there's a ton of ways of going around it. For stuff that we're going to keep in low Earth orbit or go to low Earth orbit, we use radiation tolerance, by which we mean take 3 off-the-shelf computers, have them all doing exactly the same thing, and when one of them suddenly has a completely different result than the other 2, you reboot that one. And there's tons of different ways of doing that. There's actually some processors out there now that are actually 2 cores, everything's identical, they're all running the same code, and it reboots itself when it sees something changed. That doesn't, when it doesn't agree with itself.
Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again?
Yeah, so that actually helps with the radiation. And then there's error correction code memory, ECC memory chips. You have to use those. And then there's a real rad hard stuff, and that's huge processors on as big a die they can make it using. And it ends up being like 1990s technology. I think they're up to now. And you deal with it, and that's fine. And that's what you use for everything outside the Van Allen belts. And
These are the old PowerPC processors that.
Yeah, I think they're all PowerPC instruction sets. Yeah, and there's tons of other things you have to worry about the radiation too. So.
Like humans.
Humans. Yeah, the humans. That's an issue.
I heard someone was working on because the magnetosphere is just basically a giant EM magnet kind of thing, a very powerful one, mind you.
Yeah, so yeah, just a
if
big
you
magnet.
Big magnet, right? And they're trying to figure out how much power would it actually take? I don't know if you've heard anything about.
So I don't recall anything offhand, but I know I've read the paper. I know I've read some papers on some recent stuff with that. The other thing to do is use plastics.
Plastics.
There are certain plastics that fairly lightweight, and you just get them fairly thick, and they actually absorb the radiation typical out in the cosmos fairly well. And it's a specific type.
Milk jug, recyclable number 2.
I think that's the type of plastic, actually. Yeah, I think so. Awesome. But you just need it really thick, and yeah, I wish I could remember what it was offhand, but I can't. But yeah, there are certain plastics for that, and then use metal. The really interesting thing is you can't use a metal foil.
Because?
A cosmic ray hits a piece of a thin sheet, or even sheet metal, and what happens is it hits, if the cosmic ray particle gets captured by one of the atoms, what happens is that atom might split and actually release more and worse radiation off that. And so you get what's called a cascade, and the cascade may actually be worse off.
That's hilarious.
So So yeah, you have to be careful that, materials that you might think of would, oh, this is an excellent, nothing gets through this. Gamma rays, X-rays do not get through this material. But yeah, what kind of neutrons and alpha particles and whatever else gets knocked off when a gamma ray does hit it. So that's actually a bit of a concern.
So what you're saying is plastics are our future, and we didn't even know
So, well, plastics are going to be a part of the answer, I think.
it. Multi-phased approach, maybe.
Yeah.
Multiple
No, you'll have to have a multi-phase approach because you have all. I mean, so there's so much in the way of ionizing radiation. I mean, I've talked about gamma rays, X-rays, alpha particles, beta particles. It's all over the map, and no one thing blocks all of them, right?
Earth's atmosphere.
Well, so actually, it's it's a combination of the Earth's magnetosphere and the atmosphere, and
Sure. Makes
so
sense.
yeah.
It kind of makes the whole Earth biosystem kind of amazing. The fact that it actually does everything that it does and allows life to live.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat. All right, that's our show for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Dave, again for coming back after dark and nerding out even more.
Thank you.
It's always cool. It's always fun. We'll be back next week with a new show. We're bringing on, I don't know if we're doing it next week, but soon we'll have Copenhagen Suborbitals back on, giving us a tour of their facility, hopefully live. I'm excited for that because they're doing some, they're crazy. Good crazy. They're like Dave crazy. So thank you, everyone. See you next week.